All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to our latest explainer. Today we are unpacking what is pretty much universally considered an absolute masterpiece of modern sports, the 2022 World Cup final. I mean, this wasn't just a football match, right? It was this massive, intercontinental clash of wits, wills, skills, and styles. We're talking about two absolute heavyweight teams, driven by individuals at the absolute peak of their powers, colliding on the biggest stage imaginable. I'm going to walk you through exactly how this crazy match unfolded, from the complete dominance of the first half to the dizzying, nail-biting chaos of the final whistle, pulling out some incredible details straight from the broadcast.
You know, even before a single ball was kicked, the commentator set this tone of absolute reverence. As the quote from the broadcast went, "Few get to walk this path." And the real beauty of this matchup, it was the sheer unpredictability. There were just so many narratives at play, so many historical legacies on the line, but as those players walked out onto that pitch, nobody, and I mean literally nobody, knew which story was about to be written.
Section 1. The Ultimate Stage. Let's just take a quick second to establish the vibe before kickoff. When those national anthems played, the tension in that stadium was thick enough to cut with a knife. The crowd was absolutely roaring, driven by this deafening sea of Argentina supporters. It's the kind of moment where your blood stirs just as much as it does during the match itself. So, to really appreciate this, we need to understand the incredibly high stakes for both sides. On one hand, you've got Argentina. They're carrying the weight of all of South America, looking to win the World Cup for their continent for the first time since 2002, and for their own nation for the first time since the Diego Maradona days of 1986. But even more than that, this was Lionel Messi's second and absolutely final chance to complete the set, to add the ultimate piece of glory to his unquestionable greatness, to basically finish football. And on the other side, you have France, the defending champions, a squad with 6 guys trying to join an elite, tiny list of only 12 players in history to ever win 2 World Cup finals. They were there to just absolutely cement European dominance.
Section 2. Argentina's early dominance.
So the whistle blows, and honestly, the game didn't unfold as this tense, cagey tactical battle we kind of expected. Instead, Argentina came out and completely took control. France started poorly, they were taking heavy touches, giving the ball away, and the Argentinian side immediately got to work. And that early dominance paid off big time when Angel Di Maria, with this lovely little swivel of the hips, drives straight into the box. Ousmane Dembélé gets way too close, makes a clumsy challenge, and down goes Di Maria. Penalty to Argentina. Up steps Lionel Messi. The focus on his face was just absolute. The broadcast nailed it when they called him the coolest man in the building. Because after all the magical, high-pressure moments in his career, he just steps up from 12 yards out and delivers a totally simple, calm stroke of the ball. 1-0, Argentina.
But they definitely weren't done. Let's break down how they built an absolute masterclass of a team goal to make it 2-0. It all starts with this lovely little nick around the corner by Alexis Mac Allister, linking up perfectly with Messi. Mac Allister makes this willing, driving run, looks up and plays the absolute perfect final ball across the box. And waiting right there is Di Maria, the guy who got their whole engine going in the first place. And he just bounces his finish straight into the ground and right over the keeper. Di Maria is in tears. Argentina is completely running the show, entirely deserving their 2-0 lead at halftime, while France, well, they just look totally shell-shocked.
Section 3. The French Resurgence.
Fast forward pretty late into the second half. For 80 solid minutes, Argentina looked like they were just cruising to a comfortable win. But here's the thing about football. When you have world-class talent on the pitch, you are never truly out of it. And suddenly, the defending champions woke up. I really want you to think about this number, 90, because in under 90 seconds, the entire world got turned upside down. France wins a penalty. Kylian Mbappé steps up. Now, he knows Emi Martinez is an absolute giant in these moments, but Mbappé guesses right, squeezing it just past the keeper's fingertips to make it 2-1. And then, literally before anyone could even process what had just happened, Mbappé strikes again. France steals the ball right back. They play this rapid, sensational 1-2, and the ball drops perfectly for Mbappé. He doesn't even hesitate for a split second. He strikes it on the volley. Just pure, unadulterated quality. A finish to die for. You could tell he knew it was in the back of the net the second it left his boot. In a heartbeat, France came from 2-0 down to completely level the game. It was a terrifying reminder of Mbappe's absolute X factor.
Section 4. Extra time drama.
So normal time ends in a 2-2 draw, and what followed in extra time was nothing short of breathless chaos. It was like watching two heavyweight fighters standing in the middle of the ring just trading massive knockout blows. Just look at how this sequence plays out.
First, Lionel Messi seemingly wins the World Cup all over again. He capitalizes on a rebound, firing in this scrambly goal that is ruled clearly over the line despite a desperate block from the defense. 3-2 Argentina. But nope, the script flips yet again. Mbappe fires a shot that hits the outstretched arm of Argentina's Gonzalo Montiel, penalty to France. Mbappe buries it to make it 3-3. And then, in the absolute dying final moments of extra time, France's Kolo Muani is completely through on goal, and Argentina's keeper Emi Martinez makes this unbelievable sprawling save, a save that literally kept Argentina's hopes of world glory alive.
We really got to pause here for a second and emphasize what Kylian Mbappé actually achieved in that extra time. Look, scoring a penalty under normal circumstances is tough enough. Doing it to complete a hat-trick in a World Cup final with the entire weight of a nation resting squarely on your shoulders, that requires some staggering mental strength. The broadcast summed it up perfectly right then. That boy's a king. 3 times stepping up to the spot, 3 times finding the back of the net. Incredible.
Section 5. The penalty shootout.
After 120 minutes of totally thrilling football, the pace just slows down to this tense, agonizing crawl. It's time for the ultimate test of nerve. In the shootout, Mbappe goes first for France and scores, but then Emi Martinez steps right back into the spotlight. He is the big man for the big stage. He dives and saves Kingsley Coman's penalty. Then, Martinez brings out his trademark mind games, totally getting into Aurélien Tchouameni's head, forcing him to pull his shot wide. Meanwhile, look at Argentina's side of things. Messi steps up and just rolls his penalty in, smooth and stylish as you like. Dybala swashes it straight down the middle. Paredes does his job perfectly, and finally, Gonzalo Montiel, the very guy who gave away that late penalty, steps up and scores the decisive, tournament-winning kick.
Section 6. Champions of the World.
The second Montiel's penalty hit the back of the net, the tears just immediately began to fall. The raw emotion pouring out across that pitch as history was cemented for the South American side. But, even in defeat, we absolutely have to acknowledge this incredible statistic. 8. Kylian Mbappé finished the tournament with 8 goals, taking home the Golden Boot. To put that into perspective for you, he's the first player to score 8 goals and win the Golden Boot at a World Cup since the Brazilian Ronaldo did it way back in 2002. It was an absolutely phenomenal individual performance amidst total crushing heartbreak for France.
But ultimately, the night belonged to Argentina. Look at the historic accolades they stacked up here. You had 21-year-old Enzo Fernandez, who showed just massive personality and class on the ball all tournament long, taking home the Young Player Award. This marked Argentina's 3rd World Cup title overall, adding 2022 to their historic victories in 1978 and 1986. And perhaps most poignantly of all, this was their first World Cup victory since the death of the legendary Diego Maradona. The narrative connection there was just incredibly powerful. Which brings us to the absolutely indelible image of the night. Lionel Messi, draped in that traditional bisht robe given to him by the Emir of Qatar, finally lifting the trophy. He held it so close to his chest like he was never going to let it go. It was the culmination of literally a lifetime of expectations. It meant the absolute world to him, to Argentina, and to all of South America. He had, just as everyone said, completed the set. He finished football.
And that leaves us with this final thought. When you look back at the wild momentum shifts, from Argentina's early, suffocating dominance to Mbappe's 90-second lightning strike, the complete madness of extra time, and that nail-biting shootout, you really have to ask yourself, was this the greatest World Cup final we have ever seen? The broadcast definitely felt it laid a heavy claim to the title. It was a match that truly had absolutely everything, sealing incredible legacies that we're going to be talking about for generations. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. And seriously, I highly encourage you to go rewatch those highlights with all these incredible narratives in mind. Catch you next time.